Well, hello, Jeff. Thank you so much for taking time to connect with me. I just had a couple of questions about your clinic that is coming for the future semester. I wanted to touch base with you. I'm curious about whether you have a little bit more context for the practice areas that our students will be able to engage in if they participate in this clinic.
We've done a lot of Freedom of Information Act work, both in the federal and state courts in recent years, and with significant success. So next year, we're going to be doing much more of that work. So we'll be focusing on government information, government access to information, and may also represent individuals who are seeking a benefit from the government of one form or another. I hope also to include one or two impact litigation cases on our docket, which we'd likely co-counsel with a local public interest law firm or legal services organization.
Terrific. Well, that's so helpful for context. I'm curious, so for the students who may not be as familiar with Freedom of Information Act, can you give a little bit of context, of course, without breaching any confidentiality, but talk to our students who might be curious of what those cases might really look like?
We've had two forms of them. One is drafting the Freedom of Information Act request. So, for example, this semester, we've been working with an immigration rights organization, we'll put it that way. And they've been seeking information about certain activities that ICE is up to. So we've drafted and will shortly be filing a Freedom of Information Act request seeking records involving ICE. We're also working with a local workers' rights organization that is very actively involved in issues concerning street vendors and people with entrepreneurial interest in creating an economic niche for themselves, doing food and other sales in public. And in order to advocate before the DC Council for some changes in the law, this organization is trying to get some data about aspects of this kind of work. So we're filing a Freedom of Information Act request with them for that information. And what that means is that the students not only have to have an understanding of FOIA, but they also have to have an understanding of the area of practice that our clients are involved in so that they can write meaningful and intelligent FOIA requests. We also litigate FOIA cases. So we've got a number of cases going on right now that involve a range of issues, mostly in federal court, one in state court, in which we are representing a FOIA requester who has either not gotten a FOIA response back or has gotten one that's unsatisfactory, and they're seeking to force the government to disclose the records that are sought.
Wow, that sounds really, really interesting. So in terms of the tangible skills that the students will walk away with, sounds like there's a lot there. Are there any that you kind of can think of off the top of your head that anybody coming in seeking a particular skill might get?
Right. Well, there's going to be a fair amount of legal research and writing. Students will have to develop mastery of the government access laws. There'll be a good amount of client contact as we're learning from the client about what it is they want and why. There's going to be a lot of drafting. We'll be drafting their requests, and in cases that are in litigation, we've had students that have already drafted and filed federal district court complaints. So that drafting exercise is going to be necessary. There may be a need to do some negotiation with the government on what's going to be provided and what isn't. We had a pair of students early this semester who did a half-day oral argument in the DC Superior Court before a judge on the extent to which the government could redact certain documents that we were trying to obtain for our client. So there's a pretty broad range of legal skills that I suspect the students will find themselves getting into.
Excellent. Well, those are really some of the main questions that I had for you. I'm excited for the students who apply because it sounds like quite an action-packed, but I know your clinic is semester long, so an action-packed semester. And again, the students will be excited. So thank you. Thank you. This has been such a fruitful conversation.
You're welcome. I should just note that I will accept applications from second or third year students, and there are no prerequisites for the clinic. I recommend that all students take professional responsibility, but it's not a requirement that they do so. Typically my habit has been to take third year students first because they're at the end, but second year students are welcome to apply. And if for whatever reason I'm not able to accept them because the numbers don't work out, I encourage them to reapply. It isn't personal, it's just numbers. And I hope that my second year applicants will try again.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Jeff. I really appreciate it.
Sure, glad to do it.
And for those of you that I've not yet had the pleasure of meeting, my name is Audrey Willis-Johnson. I'm the managing attorney of the clinics, and I am more than happy to answer any questions that you have that may come up as you're thinking about applying to clinics, interested in a particular clinic, want to navigate the application process. Any of those general questions and specific questions, our faculty are more than happy to talk to you about what's new in their clinics and any details that you might need to know in terms of time commitment. So thank you again for listening. And if you will stay tuned, you'll hear from a few student attorneys who participated in this clinic. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Hi, my name is Michael Hill. I'm a 3L at GW Law, and I'm a student attorney in the Public Justice Advocacy Clinic. Today, I wanted to talk to you about my experience in the clinic so far, mostly focusing on the time commitment of the clinic, the skills gained, and my overall impressions. As far as time commitment goes, you have the option to take the clinic for 4 to 6 credits. Personally, I'm taking it for 6, and that's what I recommend if you can. You can really let the clinic be your main focus and not worry as much about everything else going on in your life. That being said, Professor Eaton and Gutman do a great job of trying to make sure that you get the correct amount of cases for the correct amount of hours you're taking the class for. That being said, for 6 credits, it works out to about 18 hours of work per week, which isn't a huge ask. The work does fluctuate a bit. For example, one of my partners and I recently filed a complaint in the DC District Court, and we spent more than 18 hours each week working up to that. And now that we filed, we're a little bit in a holding pattern. So not as much work on that, and I'm able to turn to some of my other cases that I'm working on. Professor Gutman and Eaton also do a great job making sure that the time you take for the readings and the weekly class doesn't get in the way of working on your cases. The readings that they give are really good as far as helping you understand the type of law that you're going to be dealing with in your cases, and reflecting on those cases and talking through the law in class is actually one of the most helpful aspects of the clinic. As far as skills gained, you certainly get a lot of the hard skills, such as drafting complaints, perhaps drafting a demand letter, and in some cases, especially our unemployment insurance cases, you kind of get to go through a whole mini administrative trial. So the hard skills are definitely there, but I think one of the skills that I undervalued coming in is client communication. In some of my previous summer jobs, I'd had experience with clients, but never as the attorney of record. You are the end all be all, the buck stops with you, and you get to communicate with your clients as their lawyer, which is a little bit daunting at first, I'll be honest, but Professor Eaton and Gutman are there every step of the way to kind of be a support for you. And sitting down and interviewing clients, asking them about real world issues and getting experience asking clients about very sensitive questions is a really good experience that is hard to get anywhere else in law school. That kind of brings me to my overall impression of the clinic. It's been the greatest experience of my law school career. It's a fantastic buffer, I think, between the traditional doctrinal learning you do at the beginning of law school and then actually working. You get to be a real attorney, really representing clients, but you kind of have the safety net of these professors who you meet with every week, who are extremely experienced and are there with you every step of the way. The fact that you're considering doing a clinic by watching this video is awesome. I think clinics should be required for everybody. And the Public Justice Advocacy Clinic is a fantastic way to get your hands on real world experience representing clients who otherwise wouldn't have access to counsel. Is very rewarding and is hugely, hugely beneficial as far as experience goes.
Hello, my name is Estefania Palacios. I am a third-year law student, and this semester I'm a student attorney with the Public Justice Advocacy Clinic. I'm here because I want to give you some insight of my experience with the clinic and hopefully help you make the best decision for you as you work on your application package. So the first thing is time commitment. As you probably know, for every credit hour that you take, that translates to X amount of hours that you have to do per semester. In my case, I am doing the clinic for 6 credits, which translates to doing an average of 20 hours of work per week. And I have to say, it is very doable. Yes, you're going to be very busy. You're going to be handling many cases and many different parts of it, but you're always going to be doing that with a partner, which is super helpful. Teamwork makes the dream work. And the other thing is Professor Gutman and Professor Eden are very good at helping you if you're overworked or underwork. So they're never going to let you drown if you feel like you have too much going on or you have too much on your plate. Apart from clinic, I am working part-time, and I'm also the president of 2 organizations that I care deeply for, apart from other classes. So I'm very busy, but it hasn't been too much. It's doable. You just have to stay organized. So don't shy away from being a little busy. The second thing is the skills that I've gained so far. It's crazy because I've never stopped working since after my 1L summer, and I don't think I've ever had such like a meaningful experience to the point where everything is a learning experience, right? Like I've interviewed clients before and I've drafted demand letters, but I've never done it with someone guiding me throughout the process and vetting my decisions and really taking the time to give me feedback. So I feel like I've truly like honed on those skills this semester with the clinic. We have, like I said, interviewed clients, drafted complaints, drafted demand letters for wage and hour cases. We've participated in mock hearings where we're advocating for clients. I mean, we've done so much, and I think that takes me to my last point, like what's my overall experience? I think that whether you want to do plaintiff side work, whether you're passionate about workers, which is my case, or whether you just want to learn and be able to do this work maybe pro bono in the future. This is wonderful. This is translatable to any field of the law. So I highly, highly, highly encourage you to consider it. And if you have more questions, please feel free to reach out to me anytime. And best of luck.